If history has shown that the strongest empires often collapse due to internal power struggles rather than external threats, then if the US is considered an empire, why does there appear to be no significant power struggle within its deep state? And if such a struggle were to arise, what would be the potential causes? Look, typically empires last 250, 300 years or so. Kingdoms, empires, whatever. Some empires last longer. The Roman Empire lasted much longer, and so on. So maybe the US, see, I'll tell you, when it comes to hard power, the US is right now at the pinnacle of hard power. The US has never been as powerful as it has been until today. So maybe the US empire is just reaching its peak, and when you're reaching your peak, there's no power struggle. Everything is happy, everything is good. You have an external enemy right now, China. So all the focus is going to be on China and Russia, and to some extent on India, to ensure that India doesn't become a future great power 20, 30 years down the future. So make sure, take care of India right now. So all the threats when it comes to the US are external. And when you have big external threats, everything is going to be in order inside, internally. Yes, you have a decline of cultural values and living standards in the US, but that can be taken care of because the US is also a police state, so they can deal with their citizens. Um, yeah, so maybe it's because the US is destined to last another 200, 300 years as an empire, in which case you will not see any power struggle. Everything doesn't have to happen right now, right? Maybe it'll happen 100 years down the line, maybe 150 years down the line. Because we are living in this moment doesn't mean that everything has to happen right now, right? Maybe there is some power struggle. There's always some politics going on in any empire. The deep state is an invisible entity. We don't quite know who makes up the deep state, who are the individuals, and so on. We don't quite know. And it is in their interest not to give up their power. So maybe they have things very much under control. They are firmly in control of the reins, in which case it makes sense to see what we are seeing right now, that the US doesn't have any such issues. If in the future such a struggle were to arise, what could it be the potential causes? If in the see Typically when empires are unchallenged for a very long time and they have no more enemies left, that's when the decay sets in. As long as there's a wolf outside the door, or a pack of wolves, there's no decay that sets in, right? So in the future, if the US becomes the sole power and all other powers fall down the wayside and everybody becomes irrelevant, the US becomes a hyperpower, then you could see potentially something happening down the line. Let's say the US becomes, develops artificial super intelligence, which makes it technologically uncatchable. And they develop godlike technologies, magic like technologies that nobody can catch up with. Then all other powers will become irrelevant. And then let's say the US goes and conquer Mars and sets up multiple bases on Mars, millions of people there. Then in the future, Mars may in the future declare independence, and then you may have a situation like the US declaring independence from Great Britain in the 18th century. And then you may have a conflict of that kind, perhaps. So that's something you could see in the future, or maybe something else. We can only speculate at this point. But at this point, the US is at the pinnacle of its power, of its hard power. It's never been as powerful as it is today. And it has significant adversaries outside. One is Russia, one is China. And in that situation, you will probably not see a decline or a collapse of the US. So of course, one can be anything's possible, but it's unlikely. It's less likely from my perspective. Maybe I am wrong. Maybe you'll see something else happening. We'll see. We'll see about that.